Hello, my name is Kendall. Welcome back to another video. And if you're new here, hello, my name is Kendall. So today I am going on an adventure. I'm becoming an archaeologist because I am going way back in time to find my super old paint. Now, I've been creating stuff since I was super young, so I have a ton of paint that is really old that I still have. A lot of it I have thrown away, but there are a couple bottles hidden in the cracks and corners of my room that I'm going to be finding and testing out today. It's kind of funny because you can really tell the bottles of paint that I used versus the ones that I rarely use. I would never get new paint because at the ripe age of 8 years old, I didn't realize that you could just go out and buy more paint. Though it was hard on old, young me, it is so helpful for today for this video. If you do end up enjoying this video, please make sure to subscribe and like to become a part of our growing art family. And without any further introduction, let's begin. Alright, to begin, I am pulling out a very old container with all of my gouache paint in it. There is some new paint in here, so I am going to separate the old from the new. So let's start with figuring out what is what. It's quite easy to differentiate the old bottles because they look a little bit more crusty and they're super flat, and a lot of them are pretty dried out, which I did not realize at the beginning. There are quite a lot of unique things in this box besides the gouache. We have some dice, there was a spoon earlier, and then a Crayola marker, so I don't really know what's going on, but it's okay because now we have all the crusty 11-year-old paint. For those who do not know what gouache is, before we begin, I think this is a little important to know. Gouache is like a mixture between watercolor and acrylic. It's more thick like acrylic, but it's water soluble and water activated just like watercolor is. Now that you've had that educational lesson, it is time to check this paint because just touching some of the bottles, I could tell it's not gonna work. So I'm going through checking each and every one. Some of them, the tops won't even come off. At the end, there's really not that much to work with. We got 3 colors, and out of the 3, only 2 of them will open. So the painting options are very limited here. Remember that spoon that I put away a long time ago? It's coming back, and it's actually being very useful right now because I did not feel like getting up and grabbing a paint palette. So we are going to mix it on the spoon. I'm having to really mix it a lot because the oil and the pigment have separated, and I didn't think this was going to be a huge problem, but it definitely was. I spent a lot of time thinking and rethinking on what to draw because 2 colors really doesn't give me that many options. So that's why it looks really messy. At this point, I'm starting to paint, and this is the calm before the storm because this paint right here was the biggest headache. You can probably see, but the paint kept separating. It would not stay on the canvas. It was like oil mixing with water when it would get on the canvas. And it was even worse because the paint was extremely thick because of it being old. So not only was it super difficult to spread, but it wouldn't even stay on the canvas. I tried adding water to it to try to help, but it just made it worse. So I had to work with this super mushy, thick, separating substance that didn't even resemble paint at some points. When I say my patience was tested, it was tested. My patience was at its wit's end at this point. I began feeling like I was going crazy, so I tried some of the newer gouache on the side of the canvas to see if it was the canvas or if it was just the gouache itself. And when I did this, I realized it was not the canvas. It was the old, musty 10-year-old, 11-year-old gouache. I tried some of the other paint right beside it as well to see, and actually, as you continue looking at it, you can see the paint separating on the canvas. I continued though, and I kept adding more and more paint, and I just kept trying to rub the paint into the canvas as hard as I could to try to keep it from separating as much. I had to put on extremely thick layers, and it got really clumpy and really hard to maneuver the paint. It would go places I didn't want it to go, and then it wouldn't go places I needed it to go. I sat here for a clean 10 minutes just trying to rub this paint in, hoping that it would stay in place and going over it over and over and over again. Now that I have my base, I am going to try to add some detail by mixing in the two colors together to add some shading and some blushing, and just try to add really anything I could to make this not look like a random blob on a canvas. This color right here is like a 3-in-1 soap because it is doing everything right now. It's the shading, it's the collarbone, it's the blush, it's the lips, it's the nose. And did I kind of overdo it? Absolutely. But did I do what I had to do? Yes. Now, if you thought what I just did was the boss battle, this is the final boss battle right here. I was on the verge of giving up. I was like, this is it. It's just going to be an unfinished painting because this is not working for me. I used so much paint on this tiny canvas. It felt like I used like half the container. And yet, with all that paint, somehow it managed to still separate. Things got really messy and I ended up getting paint where I didn't want to get it on the actual character. And the whole thing just ended up really, really ugly. I try to go slow to keep everything as neat and clean as possible, but it just wasn't working. So I had to deal with, unfortunately, how it came out. But enjoy the rest of this speed painting of using 10 to 11-year-old gouache paint. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. The painting came out really, really rough. Trust me, I can paint so much better than that, but that looked so bad. I can't even lie. I felt kind of embarrassed. It's okay though, because you know what they say, small, what is it? Don't even know the old quote. Small loses for a big comeback. It's something like that. Anyways, I'm going to redeem myself. I'm probably going to make a video restoring all the other paints and trying to use them, but I'm really not sure how it's going to come out because that paint was not working for me. Despite how bad the painting came out, I hope you did enjoy today's video, and please leave a comment if there's anything you would like me to create. Thank you for watching this far, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!